This is not your dad's MR, okay? This is your MR. You gotta recognize. Welcome to the Real Boardloft. I'm Trip Forman, and this is the Mayhem MR, or MR Mayhem, whichever one you wanna say, Cali Twin from Lost Surfboards. And I'm fired up on this thing, and I am here to tell you that this is not your father's MR. This is a completely different craft of which you have no idea the performance level of this board just by looking at it online or on a website or in a catalog or anything like that. This board is straight up insane. We just got back from Puerto Rico and had an absolute blast, and we're really surprised about how well this thing surfed, and at a performance level, like tons of power underneath your feet, tons of speed down the line, and still ripping really good turns on it. This is the board that I surfed. I sized this thing based, basically on like what I would size my puddle jumper at from Lost. And so this board is 42.2 liters. It's a stock 6'3". So it's 6'3", 22, 2.77, 42.2 liters. All of the Cali Twins are set up as a twin plus trailer. I guess you could also ride it as a thruster if you wanted to, but I think the fins are gonna be a little bit tighter of a cluster than a standard thruster. Tighter of a cluster than a standard thruster. Tighter of a cluster than a standard thruster. And that's the way it is. But you can ride it as a standard twin, like MR always says that you can ride these boards as a standard twin, or you could also use the stabilizing fin, which goes in the back. So when we rode this board, we rode it with the FCS2 MRs in the front, the MR Twins, which is not a keel fin, it's more of an upright twin. And then we rode it with that little stabilizer in the back. And I'm a big fan of that fin setup. Super fun for marginal conditions all the way up to decent surf. And I like it frontside. I absolutely love it backside. It's super, super fun, like really pumpy and drivey down the line, and the ability to do good snaps off the top and wraps back into the pocket. So where did this board come from? Matt Biolis wanted to do a collab with MR, and so they started out with MR's Super Twin, which is a pretty aggressive kind of shortboard style twin fin, like kind of more of your like kind of high performance twin rather than retro twin. So the Super Twin is a lot narrower than this. It's like sometimes up to 2 inches narrower than this board, and more nose rocker, and then just a dedicated twin fin out the back. So if you took this board and just really slimmed it out and foiled it out and narrowed it up, you'd have a Super Twin. But Matt started with that as a starting point, lowered the nose rocker, made the board upwards of 2 inches wider, did more of a modern concave bottom on it, and into the MR wing swallow, and then stuck with that twin plus trailer setup. And so now going back to how does this thing feel when you surf it? It paddles really well for the size. It catches waves really easy. A lot of that is just the how much tail area you have back here. It's really easy to think about this, but when you have more tail area and the wave is pushing you into the wave, you got more for the wave to push on. So this board, it really feels like you're getting like a push into the wave, so their waves are easier to catch, and you also launch into them with more speed. Once you're up on the wave and going, this thing has the ability to generate like mad speed down the line. And then also the ability to hold that through the turns. When we were surfing in Puerto Rico, we were surfing this right-hand reef break, and I was the biggest surfer on probably comparatively the smallest board compared to my weight, but I had no qualms at all about hanging out on the inside and picking up like scraps the whole session, where normally I'm like out the back waiting for sets. That's like my MO. This board, if it was my turn, I'd wait out the back and wait for a set, but if it wasn't my turn, I would sit on the inside and just take off on like waist-high waves all day long, because this thing is so fun to ride in marginal conditions. And then when it was my turn and the sets came in, the thing still holds, which is what Law says it does, and it definitely does. So really, really impressed, like completely blown away how well this thing surfs. And I think anybody that gets one of these boards will feel the same way, you know? It'll definitely go underground a little bit because I think a lot of people will be confused because you put MR on it and people think it's a little bit retro, but this thing is not retro at all. If you're looking at puddle jumpers like that style of board or anybody else's boards in that category, I would also be looking at this board because I think you'd be really, really stoked with it. It's the MR Mayhem Cali Twin from Lost Surfboards. If you have any questions about this board or you'd like to place an order, you can give us a call at the shop, 252-987-6000, or you can look us up online, realwatersports.com/surfing. Thanks for tuning in.